Welcome. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be going through how I would go about modeling this particular shoe here. So when modeling anything, especially a complex shape like a shoe, you have to kind of break it into parts. So that's what I want to do here. Just create a video series of parts that will go to be done in order to create our final product, a shoe. And so a few things you need to have before we continue with this tutorial. First, I like for whatever shoe you want to model. In this case, I'm modeling just some of my own shoes. Whatever shoe you want to model, make sure that you take some good images. And the angles you need the images from would be the bottom, the back, both sides, and the top. And the front could be helpful too, if that's what you choose. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up these images so that they can be used while modeling to use as a reference. So if you don't have that yet, you feel free to pause this video here and capture those images. And we're looking for some really, when I say take a picture of the sides or the bottom, try to get as squared as possible, so as straight on to that angle as possible to ensure some accuracy. So if you choose to continue the video, I'm assuming that you have some images you'd like to use. Also, you can probably find some online if you choose so. So we are going to be using 3ds Max, as you can see here. And the first thing I want to do is set up our references. So if I were to look at, let's say we'll go with the bottom first. I'm going to right click on that, go properties, and if I go to details, you'll see the image size here is 3024 pixels by 4032 pixels. So now I know that's how large I will make my first panel. So I'm gonna go to plane. I'm just gonna drag that out. Right now it doesn't really matter. My segments put to 1. And you can also right click right on the arrows and it sets everything to 1. So you can go up and then right click and it's back to 1. And then for my length, I just want to do something close. It doesn't be perfect, so I'm gonna go 30 by 40. And actually I think it should be 40 by 30, that way it's facing the correct direction. So now you see here we just have a simple image plane. Okay. Now once I got that, I'm going to use my move tool and I want to zero that out. So I'm going to right click on all the X, the Y, just right click on the arrows, and it zeroes it out, and Z. So now we're at 0. I want to rotate so it's facing down. So I'm just going to rotate it along the X axis until it's 180 degrees. So now when you look at it from the bottom, you see that it's flat towards the bottom. And let's call this sole ref. So it's my sole reference here. Now what you want to do is you want to open up your material editor, which the shortcut for that is M, or you see at the top up here, it's just this little box, and it says material editor. And there are 2 different modes you can go in. You can be in the compact, which I'll be using, or you can also do the slate. The slate's a little different. For what we're doing, we probably just want to stick to the compact. It's really simple. So the compact one, we want to create our first material. So let's call this sole. And then if you go to maps and you go to your diffuse color and select the map and go to bitmap. So again, that's maps, check mark the diffuse color, click on the no map, and then click bitmap and hit OK. So now I'll give you a prompt to choose which image you would like to use. The image we want to use for this case will be our shoe sole image that we had discussed. So go to my references, then I just have this bottom. I'm going to select on that. So now you'll see this little square, or this little sphere has some kind of color on it. So that's the soul image. Now you can drag and drop that right in there, and it's gray. That's fine. So you want to click on the show shaded material. So that's just this here. Again, show shade material and viewport. And I see here that I need to actually I had it right the first time. So there's a little squish, so therefore I know that now it has to be, the length is 30, the width is 40. Okay. So now we have that, and we actually wanted to make it so that the front, we'll see. I'm sorry about that. We want it so that the front is, the shoes are facing towards the front. So here's our front, or here's our back. Here's our front. We want to be facing that way. So we know to rotate that 90 degrees. So therefore we know that it will be facing. So if you look at your bomb view, it now is facing towards the front. Okay. So that's our first image. And then what we could do from here is we want to make it so that if we were to draw anything on it, let's say if I wanted to draw something on it, as far as if I want to start modeling on top of that image here, we'll make sure we can move it around without accidentally moving that, because if we move that, then it's going to throw everything off. So the way we do that is you can freeze it, and if you freeze like that, it'll go straight to gray. So right click on here. First select it, right click, go to object properties. You want to freeze it, but before you hit OK, where it's check marked show frozen in gray, turn that off. So now it'll freeze. It'll no longer, you can't select it, but it won't be in gray anymore. So that is how you set up your reference image, and you'll want to set up the next ones. So that is our bottom. We'll name it to bottom. So the bottom reference image. Now I want to we can actually use the same panel, so I'm just going to copy that and clone it. So make sure when you're cloning things you hit copy. We'll rename that to side 1 ref. Okay, so now in my perspective mode, I will actually rotate this side 1 by 90 degrees. Okay, and I want it to actually be flush with the bottom here. So now if I were to let's see, if I were to go to this side, you'll see this darker black line. That's where the bottom shoe is. So unfreeze that. So by unfreezing, you can just select the snowflake on there, and it could line up this way, but first, before we line up anything, let's go ahead and pop in our side ref. So once again, I'll hit material, create a new material, and call it side 1. Now I'll go to maps, diffuse color, no map, bitmap, OK, and I will select this side. So this toe will be pointing to the front, so I know it's actually side 2 that I'll be using here. And I have to select the show material and viewport. So now from here I can actually adjust this. I want this to be about there. So now we have our bottom image, we have our top image, just like that. Okay. In fact, you could, if you want, you could actually move this over here a little bit so you don't have to see it. And so it's kind of out of the way. And we're going to retitle this one to side 2 because that's what I have labeled. You can title whatever you want. and then freeze it again. So now we'll clone this again with Control V, clone, and we'll call it side 1. And we'll move this way over to here. Oh, need to unfreeze that so I can move it. Oh, not that one. Here you go. So unfreeze side 1. Now move that over here. So now we want to be able to see it when we. I can hide the ones we don't need right now, but I want to be able to see it from over here. So to do that, I'll just simply rotate by 180 degrees. That'll be along the Z-axis. Okay. And then we will take go to material editor, make a new one. We'll call this side 1, and then again maps, diffuse color, no map, bitmap, and hit OK, and then select which one you want. So we want this because the toe is pointing to the front there, and we'll just drag and drop. Let's see what is. Just make sure. Okay. So what I had there is I had 2 that are named the same material. So what I need to do is just also need to freeze that. Okay. So I'll have to actually I'm going to delete this material and make sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so I renamed it. So you see here, it's now facing the right direction, and it's pretty close to in line with this. So now we want to find our top view, and this I can just copy my bottom. I'll call this top, and I'll just rotate this so it's facing 100. Let's see. There you go. I'm going to raise this up just a bit, and then I will and now I'll make another material. This one will be just my top material. Go to maps, diffuse color, bitmap, and I'll choose my top view. I'll make sure to enable the show shade material viewport, drag and drop it right there. And as you see, it is rotated the wrong direction, so a simple 180 degree rotation will do. Now if you hit the A key, this will actually lock in your angle snap. So it's right here, you see A is angle snap toggle. So if you want to do that, it might help a little bit to rotate things at perfect degrees of angles. So now I have my my top view. So and so we have our one side view, our other side view, our bottom view, and our top view. And now we just have to make sure we line it up. So we'll start off with the bottom. I see here that I'm just going to make a box. Oops. Okay. So I just know that the toe needs to be about there. So I'm now going to hide everything else except for the one side reference, and I will go to the side, and I know that the toe for this side reference should be right there. Okay. Now I'll go to the next side, do the same thing, make sure that toe is almost spot on. So sometimes if you have issues with moving things around, just make sure that your item's not frozen. I do that quite often where I'll forget that it's frozen. So then now if I go to my top view, I'll just click up here, top view, unfreeze that, and then move that toe right there. Okay. So next I just want to make sure that the sides of the shoes are fairly close with the bottom, just so we're lined up there. And this is all pretty much ballpark. I mean, these are just more reference images to get you really close. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it doesn't hurt to be pretty close. Okay, so I just need to move this over, and keep in mind sometimes too the images are taken in different sizes, so you might need to scale some things down. So I'm kind of thinking that's the case for this here, is that the top and bottom might not line up perfectly because they are different size images. So I see that I need to scale this down to a hair. Move this forward just a little bit and see if, okay. And now with, since I moved this, I'm going to make sure to go to the top. I'm going to move this box back over here so I know where the front should be. I'll just scooch this up a little bit along the y-axis. And now we should be lined up. Okay. So delete that box, and now you have, lined up. You have all of your angles for how the shoe should look. Actually, one more angle we need to make sure we do is the side angle. We want to make sure the sides line up with the back of this shoe here. So again, we'll go to my bottom view to make a little box. Okay. And I see that this is a little bit large. So I'm actually just going to scale this down to hair. Yeah, that should be good. And the same thing with this other side. Just line up the bottom as well. Okay, so now we should have something that's fairly accurate, that allow us to, model from the four main directions. There are other images we had from earlier we can use as references, in addition to these. So the next video I will actually go about. We're going to start working on the sole of this project.